proof about some effect in plasma physics called the Landau damping, as you mentioned it. Landau damping is this effect in plasma physics, and plasma is essentially a gas of electrons, or let's say a gas in which electrons are separated from the nuclei and live their life. And it's a kind of very ideal world in which there is no friction, no collision, no disorder increase as in a usual gas, and still, even in spite of that kind of perfection, there is spontaneous relaxation, damping, so to speak, of the disturbances. So if you have a plasma and you excite it, spontaneously the excitation will go down instead of being preserved. And so I was working very hard to understand this. I was working in team with a former student of mine who was in Paris at the time, and we were exchanging constantly. I had understood that it was a big thing, a big subject. When I started working on it, I thought it was just one kind of exercise, and then I understood it was not only important, but mathematically a very strong novelty. The proof which we were trying to put together, the proof, is the reasoning by which you convince any fellow mathematician that it has to be so. The proof was more than 100 pages long already, but still not working. Mistake in it that we are trying to fix. I had already, by mistake, announced several months before that I knew how to prove the result, so I was under extremely strong pressure to really prove it. And there I was, trying to fix the proof and trying to find a new element, and there was this core which just didn't work. It was midnight and I was working alone in my house on the countryside, and then it was 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., maybe 3:30. I don't remember when exactly I decided it was impossible and there's no way I'm going to solve it now, and so on. Going to bed, in very low spirit. And a few hours later, I awake like, it's time to take the kids to school, and wow, how they taste to get up. And then I hear this voice in my head saying, the second term should be moved and Fourier transformed. The second term should be moved and Fourier... Wow. And this was indeed the start of the solution. Take the second term in the equation, put it on the other side, take the Fourier transform, start working from this, and so on. And go and go and go. It was still hours and hours of effort to solve that particular difficulty, but the solution had appeared to me exactly at waking up, which shows you that even when you think you are desperate for rest and think that you should think anything else, your brain, while you are sleeping, is still working on it. And that shows another experience in which it was really my life of mathematician and really pure work in some sense. So let's go to work and go to the second part of the theme. What can we say is work? Work, as you know, in French is travail, which comes from tripalium, which means torture in Latin language. Not so happy. In English, it's not as bad. Work is the same root as ergon, which you find in ergonomics, which is associated with positive feelings, like how to design things in such a way that we can use them in the most efficient way. And work can be both. Work can be something which is akin to slavery, something which really harms you, and which is, as you know, you are compelled to do in exchange of getting some resources to live. Or it may be work, the thing which really, the only thing that you are excited about, the activity that you will die for, and sometimes literally. Maybe for some people a work of art, and it's really work of art, the expression which is there. It may be participating in a big collective act, it may be work for a game, it may be work for preparing sport competition, and so on. And there, there is still the notion of effort, but not the notion of something bad. It's a notion of something good. Work may be a third thing. It may be what you consider your duty, your purpose on this planet, a mission which has been given to you. Maybe, like in a Kant type of vision, that you believe you have a certain mission to fulfill, to accomplish yourself. It may be like that you were given this mission by some authority you respect. One beautiful example in science is for the scientists who worked on defining the meter. You know that meter was an invention of the French Revolution, with the idea that one had to define a unit of measure that was universal and shared by all of mankind. This was the, let's say, the French thought at its best. And they said, since the Earth is the only thing which is common to all people, the unit of length should be defined according to the length of the Earth. Nowadays it is even more than that. The unit of length is defined according to the laws of physics, which are shared not only by people on Earth, but by all people in the universe, if there are other people in the universe. And anyway, these people were, some scientists were sent by the French government on a mission, measure the Earth to the most to the greatest accuracy that you can. And they worked on this for years and years and years, these two people. They were, one was Misha, I forgot the name of the other one, and they had to face war in some case. They had to face the disease. They at some point had to stay for 1 year in certain place to recover. There was some war and they could not get back and so on. And one of them thought he made a mistake in one of his early measurements in Spain, could not come back because of the war, and all the remaining of his life was haunted by the idea that he had made an error in this mission, which lasted for them, for one of them, up to his death. So in this case, they really thought they had a sacred mission, and it was their work. They did not care if it was painful, if it was happy or whatever. It was their mission, and the only way in which they thought they realized themselves. And so there it is, I would say. There is the work which you are forced to do. Maybe you don't like it, but it's the one that makes you live. There is the work which you think is so fun, that's the thing that gives you pleasure. And there is the idea of the mission. And in between these three kind of pure situations, let's say, there are combinations, mixture of all this, and you have all kinds of shade, and there may be blurring of the line. Sometimes something that you do out of fun will turn into a mission that is painful, and so on. I can quote many things like this in my own experience. For instance, when I was examiner at the entrance competition of École Normale Supérieure, at first I thought, this is fantastic, what a noble mission. I'm selecting the best people to become mathematicians in the future, trying to really find whether they are gifted for this and so on. And it's good when you do 1, 2, 3, etc. It's okay. After some time, I was really tired of it. And grading exams, entrance for the entrance competition. At first, it was so interesting. Then it became like torture, really. One, and then another, and then another, etc. And at some point, it became not that I was doing it for pleasure. I was really doing it